I know we are in between here and lunch, but this is a very important conversation, and I'm very honored and pleased to have Chair Reta Lewis from the U.S. EXIM Bank, Export-Import Bank. We're not going to go through the big bio, but I do want to highlight one aspect of Chair Lewis's bio, which was that you were the first African-American woman to be the Vice President and Counsel for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So you bring a lot of private sector experience to this job. So Chair Lewis, for the one or two people in this audience who may not know about Export-Import Bank, can you just give us an overview of what do you do?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. It is a privilege to be able to have a few minutes to be with you this morning. U.S. EXIM, an organization that was literally founded 89 years ago, and next year we'll be celebrating our 90th anniversary of our founding, is our official export credit agency that Congress mandated us to support U.S. jobs while facilitating exports. The whole idea for Export-Import Bank is how we can use the financing tools that we have to help our companies and the foreign buyers who are purchasing goods and services in the U.S. To help them to level the playing field. And so, in brief, when EXIM was reauthorized in 2019, Congress also gave us some additional areas that they wanted to see us focus on, to make more financing available in sub-Saharan Africa, to make more financing available around small business, and not just small business for small business sake, but around focus on women, minorities, rural communities, mostly underserved populations. And then also to make more financing around transformational exports, which also then included our semiconductors, AI, quantum computing, and now we're also prioritizing critical minerals because they're needed in those transformational exports. And then finally, to make more financing available of the lending cap that Congress awarded us, $135 billion. Available in the renewable energy and energy efficiency and energy storage space to ensure that we would be very front and center around climate financing and work around environmentally beneficial products.
So you are a bank with real money, so billions of dollars. So everybody here who wants money should be coming and talking with you. So tell us about how the bank is supporting energy projects, you referred to them briefly, and also then nuclear energy. Give us an overview of that.
Absolutely. You know, as an export credit agency, one of the things that we're really excited about is the work, the long-term work that EXIM has had in the renewable energy field. But I can tell you 2 years ago, when we were really looking at our targets, we had only done about $11 million in that created about 50 jobs in the renewable energy space. A year later, we had done 175 million. And this year, we were happy to report we are over $1 billion. That $1 billion, of course, came through but from a very large project that we had done in Angola with Sun Africa and with the country of Angola, the sovereign government, to build 2 solar plants in Angola. So we're really excited that that over $1 billion that we have done in the energy renewables in the renewable space has occurred to show the upward trend of where we are going. As it relates to nuclear, EXIM Bank has 5 decades of experience analyzing the risks, whether it is from a legal, a technical, and a financial perspective. We have, we believe, some of the great companies in the world. And with those companies, we have had some really, I would say, a great momentum this year, starting out with Maria Koznick of NEI, who is now serving as our co-chair of our climate committee. And then just yesterday, 2 days ago, we're really happy to announce that EXIM put out at, I think it's eximsmr.gov, a new fact sheet that actually lays out the toolkit around the work that we are doing, especially around small nuclear SMRs. The thing was, we announced that, which was exciting about that, we announced it with our Undersecretary for Arms Control and Nuclear and International Security, Bonnie Jenkins from the Department of State. And what that toolkit that you can find on our on the EXIM's website really lays out the financing flexibilities. It lays out that we can bring to a project. It really lays out EXIM's continued commitment to the work that we have done in the nuclear space. And so we've been very active. I think we issued an LI in Poland earlier this year alongside our ambassador there, where we worked in partnership with DFC. We also announced then at COP last year, we also announced for Romania another LI for $3 billion. And then this year, the board just recently awarded a $57 million loan for what we call our engineering multiplier program for Romania on their Chernovoda project. And so then in May, so we've been busy. For Flora and NuScale, we also, for RoPower, that was another LI we did for $3 billion for Romania.
So what I heard, 100-some million last year, $1 billion this year, so maybe the next year number will be 10 billion.
Well, if it comes, we are out there committed to making the projects come together. And so it's really, EXIM is demand driven. So, as it comes in the door, we are working as fast as we can. We all know that there is a sense of urgency around all of these projects, as well as the sense of urgency of what has brought us all here today at COP. And so we are making sure that our teams are ready for the responsibility. But most importantly, we want to make sure that those who are in this business understand that we are not only committed, but we're there to work in collaboration and partnership with our companies to deploy the technologies.
So very important, you just said you're demand-driven, meaning there is no cap. So if there is a demand from the people in this audience for loans, you will be able to actually review them, at least provide them.
Well, at the end of the day, for all of us, and I'm sure you all know this, we're looking for bankable projects. We are looking for bankable projects that we can come to closure. And the way that I think we have seen this process work as a timetable, as we have prioritized projects, when the borrower comes to us or the sovereign government comes to us, they're really looking for a signal from EXIM. And we have that ability through a couple of ways that can send a signal to the market, can send a signal to the country that EXIM is interested in a particular project and what we call our letters of interest. Those letters of interest, of course, are non-binding agreements, but then we also have, that can be issued in about 7 to 10 days. We then have what we call an enhanced LI, and that's where we actually, in that particular letter, can indicate what type of terms we may be looking at, and also where we can assign a underwriter who will be working directly with that particular project. Then we have what we call a preliminary commitment, which is, so in other words, we can keep stepping up the interest, the support, the potential interest and potential support of EXIM. We even have a preliminary commitment, which then can outline some additional terms, can show we've done some work around particular projects. Of course, that too comes with an assigned underwriter. But the most important thing about that one is that it is approved by our board of directors.
So Chair Lewis, what you're describing is a very kind of streamlined process, isn't it? So people don't have to worry that they're working with the government. It might take a long time.
You know, the governments are our total supporters, or our total collaborators, I would say. They too have that same level of interest as the project sponsor would. They want to get these projects done. They want to get these projects built. They want to continue to support their commitment in the nuclear energy space. And so every step along the way, we are in collaboration together. And not only that, we are working very, very closely with all of our U.S. government colleagues every step of the way, whether it's Department of State, who then, of course, and our embassy teams with our Foreign Commercial Service, our Department of Commerce, and then with other parts of government who also has a stake in the ecosystem of nuclear projects, and then of course with the White House team.
So Chair Lewis, you mentioned about Eastern Europe, Poland, investment in those countries. You have a vision for going beyond to other parts of the world?
Absolutely. I can tell you, I attended the first U.S.-Africa nuclear summit that our U.S. Department of Energy put on in Ghana several weeks ago, was just there. And then also meeting with the ministries in South Africa when we visited there most recently. South Africa, we all know, is the only place in the African continent that has, a nuclear reactor. And then we also just recently attended in London, in Paris, the U.S., not the U.S., but the World Nuclear Exhibition. We were there with our embassy team as they opened the U.S. Center. And at that World Exhibition, everyone in the global north, south, east, and west was there. I will also tell you, since being here at this COP, we started out on day one, meeting with as many countries as we could, around, of course, the COP commitments, but more importantly, around the commitments that everyone is looking at as it relates to nuclear. So even here in UAE, as we're here at this meeting, we've begun to have all types of conversations, and we are looking forward to those. I have members of our team here that has been meeting with individuals, as they say, for the time that we've been in the UAE.
So I'll characterize that as saying you're open for business.
We are open for business. Okay. But we're not just open for business. One of the things, I think that these toolkits and fact sheets and, it sounds very rote. But the thing for us is that, when EXIM was, as they say, stepped out of the market for a while because we didn't have a fully functioning board. Yeah. I believe we have come roaring back since 2019, and definitely during the Biden-Harris administration, to say not only are we open for business, but we want to be able to showcase EXIM's team and its talents to analyze the risks associated with all of these types of projects. We don't want to just be open for business. We have to get results. And that's why when we're out, we are meeting with all of our customers and all of our clients. We're working with our banking teams and our non-bank lenders to help them understand what are some of the new flexibilities that EXIM may have. And I think some of you probably know most recently at the OECD, we're OECD members, a part of the arrangement. Now these loans can go as the length can go now to 22 years. So when you have these new I would say these new flexibilities, you want to be out, you've got to be out, and you've got to be talking to them. And you've got to be inviting. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for all of us, that we're open, but it's really, we need to start the conversations now. The plans may be on the table, but it is nothing like starting the conversations now, so we can talk about what terms we can offer, what tenors we can offer. We can talk about other programs that EXIM might have, like our Make More in America initiative that goes directly to the supply chain, and our transformational export programs, flexibilities that can also be used for these types of transactions.
So Chair Lewis, let's talk a little bit about the U.S. angle to all of this. I mean, you are of course using taxpayer money, the U.S. taxpayer money, so there is a requirement for the U.S. companies. Can you explain what that is, and how are you supporting the U.S. companies working in the nuclear space?
Well, it's not just, it's U.S. companies and those foreign buyers who may be in this room who want to purchase the U.S. goods and services. One of the things I'll take in particular, like our Make More in America initiative, which comes directly out of the the supply chain review that the president did when he first came into office, when he asked all of the government agencies to look at what type of existing tools that they have to be able to assist to shore up our supply chain. So when we approved an initiative earlier this year, Make More in America, it was the first time that a U.S. government agency was able to provide financing for domestic manufacturing projects. And so what that particular initiative does is that if a company is looking to grow or expand their business, whether you're in the U.S. or wanting to come into the U.S., the work of any of those projects must have several key elements. One, it has to have an export nexus. That was the entire purpose for domestic manufacturing. It must also be in support of U.S. jobs. And then the most important thing, as you say, this is taxpayers' dollars, we have to have mandated a reasonable assurance of repayment. Yes. And with all of that, it just says that EXIM in all of our transactions have to be additional. We have to crowd in the private sector. We're not about supplementing private capital. That's mandated in our statutes. So for EXIM, the collaborations that we do with the private sector, the collaborations that we do within our own U.S. government, and then the collaborations that we do with our partners is really the most essential part of the work that we do.
So does a typical financing, whether it's nuclear or not, does it include EXIM money and then some private sector money? How does that work?
You know, we take them one transaction at a time. What most people also don't understand about EXIM is that we are very serious about working with not only with our large companies, but as we work with our large companies, working with our small companies, because 90% of our transactions is in the small arena. But we believe that when you look at a project that we just did in Angola, what it says to the market, what it says to the ecosystem is that we're in business to do business, and that we will combine with you to get these projects off the ground. So, you know, EXIM looks at all kinds of ways, especially on the nuclear side, to finance, whether we're looking at sovereign guarantees for our loan guarantees or direct loans, whether we're looking at corporate financing or some form of a structured finance.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure have heard about the pledge of tripling the nuclear capacity by 2050. I'm just wondering, Chair Lewis, does that mean you expect a lot more demand for your funding? I mean, and what are people telling you at this COP?
Well, what people are telling me at this COP is that it may be just the people in this audience that's focused on nuclear, but I can tell you every conversation we've had has focused on nuclear. We were just in conversations with a number of our own suppliers in the U.S. We were in conversations with different leadership. What it is telling us is that there is such a strong movement or momentum now for the acceleration of capital to come into this space, whether it's nuclear, whether it's renewables, you name it. And the private sector is going to be key, and how governments work together is going to be central to any of these particular projects that want to come on board.
So I think one of the things we are hearing, and we'll talk more this afternoon about the public-private partnership, and how do we get money. A lot of money will be needed for this growth into the 3 times. So what you're saying is that public-private partnership, in your view, is going to be critical for, yep.
I think public-private partnerships is coming out loud and clear in this COP too, is the way, and it's not just the public and private, it's not just going to be federal government, it's going to be, I think, government across the board. It's going to be philanthropic organizations that is also leading the charge to accelerate these projects to move faster. But the private sector is going to be, where I believe a lot of the action is. But at the end of the day, it's going to take all parts of this ecosystem to get these projects off the ground.
Yeah, as they say, it takes a village. So it's going to be a big village, I think.
It's going to be a big village, yes.
Yes. So Chair Lewis, just to conclude, tell us your reflection of the COP so far. What is excited, and about the nuclear in general.
Well, what's exciting for me is when I see our U.S. companies, when I see the Westinghouse, the Fluors, the New Scales. I mean, I could just go on and on with the names that are out there in this space this week. The ones that have been with us in Ghana, the ones that were with us in Paris. I think we will be surprised when we continue to see and hear of the support that our export credit agency will be able to give to our industries. We want to be out there with the best technology. We believe we have the great value. We want to see these technologies deployed, and we want to be there to support them.
Yeah. So, Chair Lewis, thank you very much for coming here. I think that the key takeaways I take away from this conversation is you're open for business. You have streamlined processes for companies to come and work with you, and you are here to support the nuclear industry.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.